Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have the third of a best of three in the rookie tournament finals on the Bootcamp Discord, and I have with me for commentary today a good friend of mine, the Mint Jellyman himself, Grape Jellyman, I think, just anything having to do with jelly. And he's really been teaching me a lot about the game for 1v1s, also team games. We're on a team together in Adopt a Noob, so you want to introduce yourself, say hello?
Hello, and hopefully we get a nice game going here today.
Yeah, so you haven't seen this one, I think, but
I've seen the beginning, and I happen to know the end, but
well,
not seen.
gotcha.
I haven't seen how it actually occurred.
Gotcha. Well, so let me just tell you my train of thought, because I kind of wanted to get your opinion on this one anyway. I was thinking, Scandimoto, not a super common pick, but I have a lot of really good special forces and shock infantry. So I wanted to secure this section of Bravo, and I figured...
Not overcommit to the left side, because we would get...
Yeah, I mean, it's like some recoilless rifle jeeps. Here, yeah.
Yeah.
So Han actually kind of scared me a little. You got to keep in mind, I was coming off of a loss and a tie, and the second he starts smoking, I've seen him play Leclerc down the middle before.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, okay, well, I have RBS, I have Jaeger 90. If he plays a Leclerc down the middle, I've got nothing for that. So that's why I kind of just panic dropped everything here. It was a feint, but, psychology matters a lot in this game. This was also... Yeah.
This is what ends up being usually the most important part of the whole, and that's a tiger shooting.
Yeah, that's a tiger. And I think he got kind of messed with the line of sight over in here.
Yeah.
Because that was a town blocking it, there was some forest blocking it.
Sure.
We actually got a little bit of chip damage. He got one of the NM45s, but like, that's what, 3 points of damage there, and he has to pull out. So I think that actually went okay, just in isolation.
With a puff or something, it would be a one shot now.
Yeah. I think I can't quite hear you all that well.
Oh, alright, here, I'll come a little closer.
Yeah, thank you. So, FSK, right here, this is one thing I wanted to ask you about, because I hated this position during the match and after the match. What would you have done for infantry in the opener here?
I think for the opener as Moto, I'd committed a lot harder into my opponent's two-pointer, instead of trying to defend. If you are trying to defend Delta, that spot's not bad for something like an ATGM.
Which the FSK don't have.
They've got something close, but it doesn't quite reach the forest line, so you'd probably want to put them in the buildings farther to the right.
Yeah.
Your opponent's approaching like this. Honestly, with special forces, usually what I'll do if they end up in this kind of position is I'll have them go all the way around and into the back of the two-pointer.
Yeah, up and around this side.
Your opponent has some sort of line infantry, I think, to the right of your recoilless rifle jeeps in this forest.
Legion 90.
So Legion 90. And yeah, I'd typically go around the right side of those Legion 90 to where that BAB is going into the woods, and the line of sight gets a little funky there, but you'll eventually end up, it's a long flank, but you'll end up in the town behind your opponent.
Yeah, for sure.
Behind the mortars.
And then I saw this engagement, and I was just sitting there thinking, okay, this is not good, because I'll have to engage the reservists, I'll get spotted by the Leopard 2, the Martyr 2, I'll get hit, so pretty soon I think I pull these guys back.
And there's not really anywhere to run to from there.
Right, like I can go here,
the buildings, but it's
there.
Like this one. Oh my god, is that 8 M41s?
Sorry? Yeah.
Is that 8 M41s?
That's 8 M41s. Yeah, just watch what happens when they get there too. I was just sitting there going, oh, come on. That would happen, wouldn't it? But I won't ruin the surprise too much. This was actually more of what's my game plan for this, was to play in here. Right, and I had in my head, okay, well, even if he takes this section, if I cut off his access to his two-pointer...
Yeah, you have a direct route. We're straight in.
Exactly. And one thing, I took 2 cards of RBS 56, I took 1 of RBS 90, and I just wanted to sneak some stuff in here, get some weapon teams in, make it costly for him to reinforce, and it didn't quite work out as well as I'd hoped. I really needed some fire support here, but I don't know, I felt pretty good about this. We're just scooching up.
There's just not quite enough density there for your infantry to push along.
Right. Yeah, live and learn though.
Plateau a little bit.
Yeah, we got a Martyr 2. I'm getting kind of shot at here, which was a little unfortunate, but I don't know. I'm just going to put the RBS, both versions of them, in this section of woods, and use that to sort of...
Strong position for that, especially the manual versus
Yeah,
Versus Scandi with this manpad, or even Blue Mech with this manpad, I really struggle to use my Tiger when I'm playing something like Lenjut.
yeah. I mean, RBS 90 are insane.
It's such insane range,
Yeah.
and it's still two-shotting you even with the 4
So
The main problem is keeping the Tiger spotted,
yeah,
but you're Moto, so
right.
lots of recon.
This is something that also was a little bit goofy. I lost my recoilless rifle jeeps going in, and I don't know if this unit is just horrible, but I wanted to give it a try. And I had Jaeger 90 here that came in a little bit later, and the interesting thing to me was that I expected Han, who's usually a really defensive player, to always push in only if he had left reserves, right? But this is actually everything. There's nothing else in Echo. And, you know, the Jaeger 90 got the AMX 13 FL, whatever it is. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. And then we even got the Legion in the open. So this is clear. Yeah. Yeah, these guys, brutal.
So good.
Yeah. And I just completely failed to take advantage of it. There's nothing.
Kind of a misplay by him, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he got a good engagement there. He had enough stuff to defend against a lot if I had tried to push in.
Yeah.
And instead he just kind of threw it at the wall. And
not only that, it's something where with like a little bit more, he could easily have taken you down. Just a little bit of fire support or like sequencing the attack a little better.
Right, something to shoot at the Jaeger 90, and I kept in my back pocket a little bit late just because I wanted to prevent that. But, you know, I mean, this also really ground my gears. I was microing from over here, and I grabbed the FSK and I tried to get them into the woods there. I missed.
And this is why I think the buildings to your right are a lot safer, just because you're getting better lines of sight on buildings or on like tree lines and whatnot that will have lines of sight on you.
Gotcha. So the cat just jumped off my gut. Hold on. Oh my goodness. All right.
You actually do have a range on that, which is pretty impressive, but I don't know. It's really close.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna do something real quick here with the game audio is just cranking right in my ear. Hold on.
It's also something to note. You rarely ever see FSK at all. Just because the Fallschirmjäger or Jäger, I'm not sure which one it is, but the 15-man
These guys
teams.
Oh no, we'll see him later.
They're Norwegian.
Yeah.
You usually just see those, so it's interesting to see FSK.
Well,
do you have a particular reason to take them?
So I was looking at them, and to be quite honest, I had the space for it in the infantry tab, and I think they're. Oh man, I mean mine are dead, so I can't really check right now.
I think they're 5 points more expensive. You lose 5 men, but you gain the elite speed.
Yeah, and I did it for the elite speed. I then put them in buildings that they didn't move from because, you know, like why use the trait that I got them for? But that was the reasoning anyway. And I don't know, I'm not sure that I would really use them a lot anymore. But RBS, by the way, picking off a Gepard. And I think
sitting next to the forest, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was. This perfectly describes the sort of situations that I wanted and the ones that I didn't want. I did not want to be in a slugfest with Eurocorps without heavy tools like actual tanks.
Yeah, you've got really good units here, the Kustikari 90, but they're just not in their element. They need to be in the deep forest.
Right.
Currently they're in the deep forest, but it's...
I mean, they can't project any force out, and these guys are out of gas. So, yeah.
You're about to be revealed by the service.
You'd think. But the engagements that I wanted were things like this, with RBS just picking off expensive pieces, getting a ton of weapons teams. I mean, I have RBS 90, 56, another 56, another 56. Like,
oh yeah, assaulting mid would just be painful.
You're right.
And I think maybe a little bit, I understand this is your goal, but I think probably a bit over-investment into middle. I think you have... Is that 4 squads of Norlands? Maybe just 2 less Norlands in mid. Because that would allow you the Norlands on the right.
Right, that's true.
Instead. Now they're pushing up, but...
Yeah, and that was the goal with these guys.
Definitely help the FSK out.
Oh, it would. Like, the higher range... The first time I used Norlands Jägeri, I hated them because I put them in the wrong position and I expected them to be miracle workers, and they're not.
I think the biggest... advantage they have with that range is that they're no longer getting spotted when they're shooting, which is really huge.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
know, quite
not
a
being
snipe.
spotted is crazy,
Yeah.
especially when compared to the RX, which is hitting so much harder.
Right. So I mean, you don't want them for the AP. You don't want them for the one-shot kill because they're not going to get it. It's just
Well, and even that, they do get one-shot kills, but it's only against one armor that they'll be getting one-shot kills, but it's a decent amount of units that have one armor that
yeah.
are going to regret it, especially Eurocore, all of his Vabs.
Oh,
Just
this
something to
was
keep in mind.
this was something where I think if there was a turning point in this match, I think this was probably it. Just on the edge of their range.
Oh man, and you got that motorized veterancy too.
Yep. So that's one hit.
Much
Couldn't
for
even
being
see
guided.
him. Wait, are they guided?
Yeah, they are.
Apparently not. This one's fire and forget. So, you know, 2 shots, 2 hits, and then I was pushing in the side of Bravo, and it's just...
This is an interesting push.
yeah.
Oh, nice, the Gavarman.
Yeah, standard Gavarman, M41A1s,
No,
like...
they're really good with again, the veterancy increase by playing motorized is really nice for something like MG3 lines.
Right, and then while that was happening, I just probed there with the links, got kind of an idea what was going on. I think Han maybe
So
mistargeted.
He's put a CV in your 2 point.
Yeah, he has. He's countercapped. He's been countercapped for a little bit, actually. And that really didn't bother me too much.
Really?
Yeah, and...
most people would see that +2 and they're going to start getting intimidated. Especially when they're... I guess if you CV up.
Well, you know me. I have no fear, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's not true at all.
Oh, yikes.
I'd been watching his reinforcements. He'd reinforced over here. He'd reinforced into here. And we saw even the Tiger come out as well, which that was a previous buy, but it's going to be replaced. There hadn't really been much new in this section for a while. And what was here was largely known. I knew there was a Leopard 2, I knew there was a Martyr 2, I knew there was a Gepard, I knew there was some Legion, Commandos, Para, everything like that. And so the number of places he could put a CV are relatively small. And the counterattack is coming, we'll see it. But I wasn't too worried about that because if it's not getting a constant stream of reinforcements, it is something you can grind down, generally.
Yes.
So that was just a, you know what, that's fine. I alleviated it as much as I could by a cap in Bravo. And then was just biding my time. These Norlands Jaeger actually manually targeted and killed the 1390, along with a couple other vehicles. Like we've turned this far back into a bit of a vehicle graveyard for Red, which is that's kind of unheard of, right?
Maybe it's a consequence of the Tiger going down, but it feels like there's not a lot of units on the map almost.
For me or for Han?
For Han, but almost maybe it's a better way to put it is that he's spread really far out, which is good for Moto and something hard to avoid on this map.
Yeah.
Spreading out.
This ground my gears, by the way.
Density where your upfitted infantry are really going to shine.
Right, right, because they win the fight in isolation.
The Leopard too, just forced to defend his spawn.
Yeah.
That's 80 points.
Right, and they'll kill the Gavarman. I have no doubt about that. Like, yeah, no, what was that, 1 damage? That's pathetic. But, you know, as you said, 80 points here. There were more reinforcements coming in this way, and I was just watching all of that happen going, I mean, that's Panzergren as well, right?
Yeah, probably comes in a Martyr.
Right, so all of those points are going here. That's just more time for me to deal with this. That's all that was. We have Jaeger 90 pushing forward, and then just, I want to take a peek. There's no CV here, right? And we're just going to get eyes on either side. And then this smoke, I don't know, I've started doing this in 1v1s and I found it tends to help, but it could just be, like, I don't know if it would help against you, right, for example, or against Blitz War, but if I smoke preemptively, people expect the push right then, and then when they don't see it, they relax. So I'll smoke somewhere, I'll do something somewhere else, and then I'll re-smoke and go at the same time. And I don't know, it seems to have okay results, usually.
I have to say, it's not something that you run into every day. I will say that smoking with 1 mortar is something might have second thoughts about.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a solid smoke wall. There's a CV spotted. An immediate ping. This did hurt. I mean, yeah, that did hurt.
Yeah, it's 40 points if they come in the truck.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't lose the vehicle as well here, but...
It's a truck.
Yeah, I think it was XA 180. No, that's...
They get the Jaeger 90 get a truck or a 25 point helicopter.
Yeah, you're right. That's the TGB. Okay, so Geverman here, there's the Leopard 2. Had to figure out a way to deal with him, but I have Northern Jaeger, I have FSK, I have these guys coming around the back
These
end.
are all good engagement ranges for their AT weapons. In case people don't know about the way the line of sight works in this corner, the darker area around the FSK is actually deep forest line of sight. This is all forest line of sight, but it doesn't give cover bonus. It's probably just a bug, but that's the way it works. It's not going to get patched out, so.
No, you just gotta know the map.
Something to keep in mind.
A bit of a swing and a miss in the Fighting Falcon, by the way. I really thought it would kill the Leopard
huge
2.
damage by hitting behind him.
Really? I mean, he was still alive, though, right? Like, I wanted it to be a kill.
Damage from HE bombs?
Okay, fair. Fair. Only 2 as well.
80-point tank.
And then,
well armored.
While that's going on, we're just sort of chipping at the 1390s, but this is the meat of it. Like, this engagement made me so happy. Because there's a lot of stuff here. Right, yeah. One on either side. Kustiagri doing what they'd finally been intended to do, which is clear this section of woods. And, I don't know, just running right through the guns. So, you know, there's the CV.
I think at the time I had only seen briefly that, well, when the match was happening, I'd only seen briefly that he was in your two-pointer during this, and it looked really bad, but I can see from your perspective that this doesn't look as bad as one might think.
Right, like I have a lot of meat here. That's a really good staging ground for late game.
Call this an overinvestment. There's so many.
Oh, for sure. And it wasn't well microed either. Like RBS, Foster, more RBS.
That is so many RBSs.
Look, man, anything that comes close to it's gonna die. That's just how it's gonna be.
Actually, a good thing to mention here is that your opponent might struggle. Han might struggle because this might be something to think about actually before the match. I don't believe that you guys have deck codes. He has no Iron Bomber or no HE Bomber in Eurocore. At least it's very rare to see it.
Yeah. I mean, you get the 45 point on Sunza, but it's very rarely taken.
And usually, I think, if you are going to take an HE Bomber, you take the Underwhelming. But I think it's fine, but it's definitely just underwhelming, the IDS.
Yeah, the IDS.
I definitely think, because you guys aren't locked to deck codes to the rookie tournament, definitely think the IDS might be a thing to grab, actually, in a matchup like this.
Where you know you're going to need the infantry suppression.
Where you're going to play against a motorized deck and you know his infantry is just going to trash yours. I definitely think it's not a bad idea to pick up something like that.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
He does have the LRM, though, which is...
yeah, but the LRM, I mean, we've had, what, 3 volleys all going in here? It missed the Kustiagri every single time.
A bit disappointing.
Yeah, and that's just one of those, like, blind RD, blind bombing. It's a gamble.
And sometimes it can be really useful versus motorized when you have all of these elites and they start to clump up.
Yeah.
But at the moment, again, you guys are just kind of playing all the lanes, and there's just really low unit density, which is going to favor the motorized players' infantry.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time I played like that. Like the last tourney game that I did against Boosted Eagle, my first opponent in tourney, was very much that's how I recovered at the end of the game, right?
Yeah,
and
it's a really great way to make up a big point disadvantage like you had in that game.
Or say being down 1 game and at 1 tie in a set of 5. This really hurt though. I really wanted to show you this because, I mean, I showed this to Quicksilver and his immediate response is, oh no, I taught you better than this.
Yeah, this is something so easily preventable too. Like those useless vehicles that you were talking about earlier, just one of those near your CB. 20 points, it kills that.
Yep, or double M41A1 somewhere around here. And it gets worse. These are Kustiagri.
Oh no.
Yep, Kustiagri 90.
Oh no, and you're not even unloading them.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I didn't notice until just then. And, I mean, that's why they're standing still. We're going to be moving them in a second. I saw, like, red...
no armor transports, too, so they're actually going to take...
a lot of damage through it. Yeah,
a lot of damage.
I mean, Han did to me what I did to him. He was pressing in along the front in Bravo. That's where I was looking while all this was happening. So, yeah, I mean... 1 Vab.
Man, yeah, that's brutal.
And that also put him back to +1.
But definitely brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good play. That Vab had been sitting here for a while, watching M41A1s go by and not wanting to engage. Yeah,
Yeah.
watching and waiting. Just yeah, I don't know. That actually did kind of get me a little bit because I wasn't too bothered before, but losing
Because you were
that,
starting to tech him at that point.
right, right, and now I have to rebuild all that up. I don't know if he has more stuff over here, like the Fennec 20 mils. I have to sort of clear out some of the stuff, and then the pressure back here in the front and Bravo. That was actually the first time in the match that I really felt like, ah, come on, am I gonna throw this?
Yeah.
So
I think it's good to note that even if he retakes this foothold in Bravo, though, it's still neutral tech.
yeah, no, it still is, but neutral doesn't win me the game. I have 20
Oh,
minutes left,
interesting.
and like,
So he does have an HE bomber. He has
oh
the
yeah,
Mirage 5F.
yeah, there we go.
Might have been nice to see that actually instead of
Anson's up.
the LRM earlier.
Oh. Yeah, I suppose I didn't have that much anti-air over
No
here.
way.
Yeah, goodness, I really do
I think it was
have
just
nothing.
RDS 90 maybe.
Yeah, no, over here, yeah, nothing.
Definitely
Kind of an
could've been
oversight.
pushing. I mean, killing 2 squads of Custodio, that pays for the bomber on its first run.
It does. It definitely does. It was another one of those calculated risks. Neither Han nor I really played the aggressive bomber game, so I didn't think I needed it.
I think Scandi has more to gain from playing that bomber game.
Yeah, that's quite true.
Scandi air tab is just disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, then you get the Block 5 for cluster, you get the Fighting Falcon for HE, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I love the Fighting Falcon, by the way. I think it's
super useful.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best costed for the sort of effect it can have against individual infantry squads.
Definitely. I think it's a little low on ECM, but it can also hurt vehicles, great at clearing zones of CVs. Infantry can't really jump away from it too well in forests or in towns.
Yeah, it can be a really rough thing to deal with. So Han's still taking +1. I've got a replacement CV going that way, and I thought about pushing into Charlie from this side, and I was just sitting there going, you know what? He probably has stuff in those towns, and I think that would have been.
Actually got a lot. Wow.
Yeah, I think he expected the counter push.
You know, this makes sense actually because his game plan is probably like I was saying, where if he manages to retake this corner of Bravo, and it's a neutral tech.
Yeah, then he just holds me there.
Yeah, he just has to hold you.
Right.
And
so
that actually makes a lot of sense with the amount of units he has there.
Yeah, it really does. Like that's entirely a garrison. That says anything I go through here is just gonna be bloody, and if I'm not already up on points, it's not really going to work. Especially with the tools that I don't have at my disposal, like a heavy tank that can fight the Leopard 2. So like the Leopard 2 in this matchup, I think is really pretty terrifying, potentially.
I think that you're a little down on the STRVs, actually. I think they're really solid for a motorized deck, and they will punch into the Leopard 2s pretty solidly. I think they're 80 pointers that you get in motorized.
Yeah, you get the 103C, which I finally bought one of for this side.
Yeah, this is not bad at all, really.
Yeah. I don't like it just because...
It punch up really well.
It does, it's true. I just prefer the 103D by so much that I struggle buying the 103C, but it's like...
That's understandable.
It's like looking at a gold first place trophy and then being told, okay, but the most that you get is a shiny silver, and you're like, oh, I don't want silver.
You could pretend that it's gold and fool yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, in this deck, it is gold because it's the best you got, but there's the Mirage, Puff actually taking a swing at it, but, you know. I don't remember why.
I believe, or 10 maybe.
Did I really dive that? I think I dove that bomber. That's interesting. Not sure I'd do that again. Yeah. So, I mean, I got Norlands around the side.
This is the sneak I was talking about. Well, sneak in quotes, but
yeah.
This is where I was talking about sending the FSK potentially earlier in the game. Is all the way around here. Yeah. And you get a similar buggy line of sight as you enter this area you're approaching. That allows
like this section?
Yeah, up on the elevated area. Right up here.
Huh. I'd always wondered why those sneaks tend to work out better than they otherwise could. I think
it's very deceptive.
I think he was looking for my CV there because there was an amphibial that, from his perspective, was actually spotted. And my CV, I think, does come in the amphibial. Actually, does it? No, it's the... No.
That Jupiter on the left.
Yeah, you're right, right there. No. Oh no, because that's Norwegian, that's Danish.
Yeah, not sure.
Might have died. Yeah,
Not
I
the
might
most
have died.
important thing in the world. He can always check the veterancy of the amphibials and see that they're obviously like well above
Right.
trained.
And this is one point in the match where I this was something where, you know, you said earlier this game plan makes sense, but it was the game plan that I was also relying on. And you can see exactly how, right? RBS 90, RBS 56, Jaeger 90, I have the tank here. I was really hoping that he'd just keep sending stuff down this corridor and I just keep killing it.
Mm-hmm.
And
looks like what's happening.
right. Führungsgruppe, there's a bomber coming in again, but I don't know, it felt like a whole lot of, oh, you remember that thing that I did to Blitz Wars team the other day? This is the first time I tried it. I just went right across here.
Yeah.
So, works a little better with Kustiegari than it does with Raskas and Kuriyama, but
Unfortunately, he's finally getting some value out of that LRM.
yeah, that was a nice shot. That was a nice shot. But, I don't know. I mean, we have reinforcements, the Legion 90, everything here is getting zoned incredibly hard. I mean, just all across this whole vertical line.
I'm not even sure what I would exactly do from his side, because obviously you want to get this in here, but you're just gonna bomb that CB or murder it. Or...
Yeah, this 5F I think was brutal though. Oh no.
Wow. Wow. Should have been brutal.
Should have been. Definitely should have been. But,
this CV is it's not sustainable.
No, it really isn't, because like that's 100 points every time, and I can take 100 points of shock or elite infantry and just throw it back every single time.
And I think his game plan, or at least what appears to be his game plan, about holding the right and then trying to contest this and play for tech. No, it's not a bad game plan, but the problem is all of his forces on the right. He has a lot more, at least from what we saw. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. Double swing and a miss. Yeah. How many RBS does it take?
3?
Oh, for 3. But it's okay, we got 2 more. But let's take a look here while you're talking about that, because I think like that's the benefit of the replay like this, right?
Points here, and well, if you're applying pressure, this is going to be good. But at the moment, you're not really applying pressure.
No,
he's certainly not applying pressure. So everything here is just sitting. And if you compare the forces that you have versus the forces that he has, and he's got more forces up here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's basically he has more dead points.
Yeah, I suppose
So you have more points by default to go fight in this this narrow area up by where he has the CB at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's discounting kill-loss ratio, which I think has been also in my favor here, but that just makes it worse, not better.
Yeah.
Right, like if you're down on points, you can't afford to have them in a bad location.
Yeah. They need to be doing something, right? You have to take advantage of where you have points advantage.
Yeah. This was, by the way, the single most goofy interaction in the entire best of 5, and that's actually that I stand by that, even including the Finland armored, even including all that nonsense. Just look at these M41A1s, right? Smoke wall. I figured there was the CV infantry behind here, right?
Is there? I guess we'll see.
Well, we won't actually. I'm out of gas.
Oh my god. Oh, and he bombs his own Legion to kill infantry.
It was worth. Definitely worth. Friendly fire is never actually friendly.
Oh my god, wow.
Yep, no gas. Turns out this is the limit of their autonomy. But, Legion 90.
Oh, and the Legion are probably gonna,
they're just barely out of the smoke. It really is, isn't it?
Oh man. Oh man.
Yep.
Oh, that's hard to watch.
1 down.
Oh no, and the CV's going back.
2 down. Well, the CV's going back because remember, there's still VABs here, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, there were VABs here. Boom.
Don't tell me you get the CV with this last M41.
Well, you know.
Oh my god.
You know, I don't actually. I mean, Han knew he had nothing else in front, but I really wanted it at the time. If I'd had any gas left, honestly, if I'd had gas left, that wouldn't have gone that way because I would have driven into the smoke and the Legion would have killed me there. But
you can have gas, but your M41s are going to cost 5 points more, so it's your decision.
No, I'll take the short autonomy ones. 10 points, those things are
absolutely crazy,
busted.
Crazy overpriced.
The biggest difference between, my opinion, like 4 or 5 months ago and now is that 4 or 5 months ago I thought the best tank in the game was the M1A2 Abrams. And now I think it's a strict competition between the M41A1 and the Charioteer.
Oh man.
The 15
point. 41A1's gonna have to take that one.
Yeah, I mean, the utility in the deck, though. The Charioteer gives Finland and Baltic just such amazing diversity of tactics. Even if it doesn't have recon, right?
Yeah, this is actually just to sidetrack you for a moment. I think we've been seeing, he's got these bombers, but I think you've been getting a lot more value out of your F-16s.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just straight up, I'd say, much better planes.
Yeah.
Much better loadouts. But this is one of the advantages of Scandinavia, where once you pull ahead in points, should you so desire, you can just pick up these insane bombers.
Right, and then every single one of them
for themselves as long as you get 2 runs off, basically.
Yeah, and I think Han's AA net wasn't really all that fierce here, at least for a little bit, because I hadn't used planes for the first 20 minutes of the game, right? Other than a single pop.
Their AA is pretty accurate, and it's like a point defense weapon. It can do really well, but they don't have anything like a Hawk that can be sitting like by Charlie and hitting you.
Yeah, that's fair. Approach. And even the it's not the Gepard. The Gepard's the gun. The
Roland.
Yeah, the Roland. It's only 2 shots. A single one of them
is insufficient.
Right. Now this did hurt my soul. The Kustjägeri missed their first shot against the Leopard, got spotted, and then got shot. And I was sitting there going, really?
I think they hit the VAB, no? Yeah, they definitely hit the
VAB. Yeah, I mean, we got the VAB, and then swing and a miss. Like, it's just one of those feels bad moments. So, actually got out too, stayed out of the range of the... Oh, actually, did he?
That's a lot of Kustjägeri.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, this was my late game push.
For Europe to deal with.
This is the whole thing that I had wanted in the late game, like, from the beginning. Right?
Yeah.
Just get in here, get CV infantry in here.
Yeah, it's really interesting actually that you didn't push, or you recognized that he was very strong in the town. Knowing to come through the bottom of the zone was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
with just infantry, no vehicles whatsoever.
Nope. I mean, what vehicles could I bring with that really seem of value? Like, these guys came in the NO2. Like,
you've got the NASAMs up as well, which is very nice.
A little in the wrong position. This is always my curse with these guys. And then we spot them.
I mean, you got to be really careful with them. Looks like the replay is drawing to a close, but with 5 HP, the NASAMs are really vulnerable.
Yeah, they are. That's true. But they fire really quickly, and they have decent range, really good accuracy for the price. I like them.
One of the more fun units.
You just fire and move, fire and move. So that is going to be the game, though. +5 tick at the end because he was moving his CV. Didn't kill it, but that was going to be GG. And then we have up to 2 games left in the series. So, well, thank you guys for hanging around, and thank you, Jellyman, for joining me for this one.
That was pretty impressive, especially with that retake of the tip of your 2-pointer.
Thank you.
Really well executed infantry engagement.